The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining our NCEES End of the Year Teacher and Support Staff Evaluation Process webinar. We will begin in approximately 4 minutes. And welcome to the North Carolina Educator Evaluation System End of the Year Teacher and Support Staff Evaluation Process. My name is Kimberly Simmons, and we appreciate you joining us today for this end of the year webinar. Just some go-to webinar housekeeping. Can you hear the presenter? If you can hear the presenter, let's go ahead and check that and raise your hand beside of your name. That lets me know you can hear. Great. Can you see the presenter screen? Questions over on the dashboard. That's where you enter your questions if you have any. Are there documents on this subject? We do not have any documents today. And chat, of course. And I think we will probably not be using the chat bar as much as we'll be using the questions bar. But if you do have a question, please make sure you let us know, especially if it's with technical difficulties.
And I'm going to pop in. This is Cammie Nairn, and
Please.
CDPI for the Terminologic NCEES System In your chat is a link to today's presentation. It is a view only, so you can save a copy to your Google Drive, but there is a link to today's slides in there.
Great. Thank you, Cammie. Thank you for letting us know that. And that's something a little new. We've not been doing that, but I think it's a great idea in case you want to follow along or reference later. Just copy that link. So again, my name is Kimberly Simmons. I am the NCEES coordinator, and I am joined today by Cammie Nairn. And Cammie will be providing most of the information, especially with regards to the online tool. And Cammie is our TNL lead at the Department of Public Instruction. We also have Delia Payne on the line, and Delia will be supporting us with technical issues and questions in the questions bar. So thank you, ladies, for joining us today, and I'm looking forward to sharing this information.
Okay, I'm going to put everybody's hands down.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to the next slide.
We have some webinar norms. We ask that you minimize your outside distractions, to please be attentive and participate. Notify the presenter if you are having technical difficulties.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. Can't seem to make it go backwards. There we go.
And use the questions bar on your dashboard to ask questions. Our webinar outcomes for today, we will review and discuss, and please ask questions again if you do have questions as we're progressing through, but we will be accessing the system. We will review the teacher evaluation process, especially with regards to steps 3 and 4. Complete observation number 3 container, complete the summative evaluation, review the PDP, complete the PDP End of the Year container, and additional resources. So now I'll turn it over to Cammie for accessing True North Logic.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kim. Yes, today we're going to access True North Logic, and since we're at the end of the year, most of you know this process by now, but of course we do log in through the IAM NCEES Cloud single sign-on system. So this is just the steps. You go to nceedcloud.org, and you would log in with your UID and password. You would locate your True North Logic icon, and it looks like a green compass. This does get you to the NCEES system. The overall name for our branding of the NCEES system is True North Logic. Once you click that icon, you'll land on your teacher landing page, and it's for teachers and support staff. It does look like this. You will no longer see analysis of student work, but we're mainly working in the evaluation area today. You will find several help guides, and these will be updated this summer. They do have the old colors and look to them right now, but we will get those updated this summer. But there are evaluation guides today, excuse me, for the PDP process that we're talking about and for the evaluation side process. And then we'll go back, I think, to Kim for the teacher evaluation process.
Thank you, Cammie. Yes. So here is the teacher evaluation process one-pager, and you can find this document on the NCEES Wiki, and maybe Delia can put a link to this resource in the chat bar. Our focus for today, though, is mostly on step 4, the summary evaluation and goal setting. However, let's take a minute to review the information in step 3 to ensure that we are wrapping up our observation cycle. So in step 3, we have component 5, the observations. Just to review the different types of observations that we have: formal observations, teachers with less than 3 years of employment is on the comprehensive evaluation cycle. Teachers with more than 3 years employment, they are on the standard or abbreviated evaluation cycle. And I think all the information is included there. Component 6, our post-observation conference. But you want to go to the next slide for me? There we go. That's what I was just reviewing. Yeah, there we go. And you can go ahead and go to the next one. So this is a one-pager as well that takes a deep look into the North Carolina evaluation process, just in a different format. And this is simpler for some of you. We just wanted you to be aware that this does exist. If you have questions or need to provide clarification, on the left side, you have the evaluation cycle type, which is comprehensive, standard, and abbreviated. And then as you progress to the right, and we have checks under each of the components of that particular cycle. So just wanted you to be aware that this resource exists, and I hope that you'll use it or share it with your colleagues.
Okay. Do we have any questions before we move back to the system side?
None at this time.
All right, thank you. All right, so back in the system, once you've accessed NCEES, you'll click on My Evaluations, and then you're going to open your plan. In this picture, it has standard, but it's whatever plan you've been assigned. And in there, we're going to open observation number 3, and just it's highlighted here. And each of these steps can be completed. Some are required, and the required fields are noted with an asterisk. And so those must be completed before you can get that green check mark on the end. So that'll be your formal observation number 3, the post-observation conference number 3, and the post-observation conference teacher acknowledgement. And here is the actual cycle between you and your evaluator. So the evaluator or principal does do the initial pre-observation conference. Teacher does the acknowledgement, and then the formal observation. The conference follows with the principal. The teacher does acknowledge the post-observation and supplies a written response if they like. And then the principal or evaluator can acknowledge that written response. And then once everything is completed and those required fields are finished, they can lock that observation activity.
So Cammie, let me jump in here. If you'll take it back to that last slide, I wanted to share with you a comment that an attendee that attended one of our webinars before, and when she saw this observation cycle like this, she said that she took a picture of it with her phone, and I thought that was kind of neat. And she kept referencing, and I just thought I would share that with the group that we have on the line today. Some of you may want to get your phone out and just take a quick snapshot of this observation cycle. It tends to get a little complicated at the end of the year when we're going back and forth with our signatures and responses.
Yes, that's a good idea. Thank you. All right, I'll give you guys just one more second, and then we'll move on. All right, so if we don't have any questions in our questions bar, we're going to move on to the record of teacher activities. The record of teacher activities shows you what's been going on throughout the year. It just lists the dates and signatures and everything that's been going on throughout the evaluation. And you would access it by clicking the record of teacher activities, and it would open this screen. And if you'll scroll down, you'll see all the record of all the observations you had and the dates and signatures. And then in the observation scoring summary, and I'm sorry I didn't put my red bar around there, but it's below the record of teacher evaluation activities, you'll see observation scoring summary. And you can just click on that, and it will give you a summary of your observations that you've had. All right, any questions about those areas? I want to go back one. I was going to try to add, I do believe there's a report up above here, if you click the little drop down, that you can print out this page. And I'll add that to the slide. All right. So if we have no questions, we'll move on to the summative evaluation. And this goes back to Kim.
Yep. So our summative evaluation falls under step 4 within component 7, the summary evaluation conference and scoring the teacher summary rating form. So just as a reminder, prior to the end of school, the principal conducts summary evaluation conferences with teachers to discuss components of the evaluation. At the conclusion, A, give ratings for each element in the rubric located in the online tool. B, comment on the not demonstrated rating categories. Give an overall rating of each standard. Provide the teacher with an opportunity to add comments to the summary rating form. Review the completed teacher summary rating form with the teacher and secure the teacher's signature on the record of teacher evaluation activities and teacher summary. So I just wanted to pull out this information to share it with this group today. And this group may include teachers and or administrators, but our focus is for teachers today. But in page 6 of the teacher evaluation manual, number 19 is the definition for self-assessment. And as you read the definition of the self-assessment, I just want to call your attention to the very last sentence, which says, purposes of the self-assessment are to clarify performance expectations, guide discussions about goal setting and professional development and program needs, and to provide input to the final ratings. So a good practice here may be that you take a look at your self-assessment. Teachers examine their self-assessment at the end of the year to maybe discuss and have points of interest and points of conversation about how they have grown since the beginning of the year. Or some teachers may want to actually go in and update their self-assessment so that it represents where they are at the end of the year, and then share it or not share it with their administrator. But there's just a comment here. The burden of proof for accomplished rating is on the teacher to provide evidence if the descriptor has not been marked. And I think that applies to all the different ratings this is another opportunity for you as a teacher to provide this information or this documentation or evidence within the self-assessment that you have at the summative conference.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Do we have any questions, Julia? Mighty quiet, so I don't think so.
I think we do have a question. Is the summary rating based on an average of the 3 observations or on the end point or where the teacher ended the year? And that is a great question, and I hear it a lot across the state. The ratings at the end of the year, well, that's the only time that we give ratings is during the summative evaluation. The ratings are where the teacher is at that point, at the end of the year, at the time of that summative evaluation. I know that the word summative can be misleading because it makes us think that it's a summary of what's been collected, but it's not. This is where the teacher is at the end of the year with the evidence that's collected from the different observations from throughout the year and additional data that the principal may use as well to support his ratings. Was that clear?
Thank you, Kim.
Okay. Thank you, Cammie.
All right. So in the system, you'll see the summary evaluation. If you look at the graphic on the back, when you click into your evaluation, it'll be the very last one. Click Summary Evaluation, and we'll open this window where you'll see Summary Evaluation Steps. And then you'll see the Summary Evaluation form, depending on what your plan is. This one is Standards 1 through 4, 2017-18. Do notice the little asterisk. This is a required field here. The conference is also a required field. And then the teacher acknowledgement of the Summary Evaluation Conference is a required field. And then it does provide areas for those written responses and the acknowledgement by your evaluator of that written response. And here's another one of those screenshots of the back and forth for the summary evaluation. The evaluator or principal does start off the summary evaluation form and initiates the conference. The teacher will acknowledge that conference, provide that written response, and then step 5, the evaluator acknowledges that written response and then locks the summary container once all required steps are finished. So if we don't have any questions about the evaluation side of the process, we'll move on to your professional development plan process.
Okay. Next slide.
All right, I'll turn this back over to Kim.
Thank you, Cammie. So our professional development plans, just a reminder as you're wrapping up the year and you're looking ahead to determine your own professional development plan, or if you're an administrator, to help you determine the different, to understand the different plan types. The individual PDP is for the teacher that's rated proficient or higher on all standards. With the individual PDP, the teacher sets the individual goals for the growth, and the administrator and teacher meet to discuss the PDP 3 times a year, at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. For the monitored PDP, this is for the teacher that is rated developing on 1 or more standards. This is not a recommendation for dismissal, demotion, or non-renewal. The administrator and the teacher meet to discuss and set goals together. That's one of the differences between the individual and monitored. The administrator works with the teacher collaboratively to develop and set the goals, and then they meet the same amount of times as before, 3 times a year, beginning, middle, and end, to review the process or the progress. And then for the directed PDP, this is for the teacher not rated demonstrated on any standard or rated developing on 1 or more standards for 2 consecutive years. Again, this is not a recommendation for dismissal, demotion, or non-renewal at this time. The administrator, however, for the directed PDP does set the goals for the teacher, and these goals are based on observations and documentation, and meets with the teacher to review the development plan. And again, as before, they will meet at least 3 times a year to review the progress, 1 school year or less to reach proficiency as determined by the LEA. And again, any of those rules are determined by the LEA, like the timeline on when to reach proficiency. So I want to just call out one misconception that we have across North Carolina regarding the 2 comments for monitored and the directed PDP. And it says here in the chart, not recommended for dismissal, demotion, or non-renewal at this time. What this means is that your PDP does not, a directed PDP or a monitored PDP does not serve as an action plan for dismissal. This is an action plan for dismissal. That is your local board policy. They have a policy in place that should address what an action plan may look like for a teacher. But when we are referencing professional development plans, we are talking about development and growth of a teacher. We are not talking about a plan to dismiss that teacher. We are talking about a plan and referencing a plan that grows and improves and develops a teacher. So that's a misconception out there. When someone's put on the PDP, they think that they're put on an action plan for dismissal, and that is not the case, unless there is one situation where it could be possible, and that would be if your local school board passed a policy saying that the directed PDP serves as a action plan for dismissal. If they have that in policy, that is the only time that the directed PDP could be used, and I do not know of that anywhere in North Carolina. Not saying it doesn't exist, but I do not know of it. So thank you. That gives me an opportunity, Cammie, to always address some of those misconceptions that we hear across the state.
That's perfect, Kim. Thank you. We do have a question from Tammy again. It says, I had thought that beginning teachers have 3 years to get all proficient in all areas. Do beginning teachers all need to have monitor plans until they get to proficient on all items?
So I guess that would be a local decision.
Okay.
Because we have 3 plans, and it was my understanding that a beginning teacher starts out with an individual PDP. administrator does work with them more to set their goals, but they did start out basically from a PDP. But I'll look closer into that and make sure I follow up with everyone that's in attendance on the call.
That's a good question. Thank you. Gave us some thinking points in it.
Yep.
All right. All right, so we're going to go back into the NCEES system, and now we're going to be clicking on your professional development plan. And for the end of year review, you're going to click end of year review here. And inside that container, again, is your required fields, and there's one that's not required, but a signature is probably needed if you've had a mentor, and I think our beginning teachers do. So your required fields are your PDP details, your end of year review, where the teacher completes the end of year information, and then your evaluator signature for the end of year review, reviews that with the teacher and signs off on that. The mentor signature, if you had that, this is where your area for your mentor to sign off. And then lastly, the PDP teacher signature for the end of year review. And here's another one of those cycle slides. So the PDP review cycle, the teacher does start this off with the PDP details, and then the evaluator signs off. If required, the mentor will sign off, and then the teacher signs off before the evaluator or principal would then log that activity. All right, do we have any questions? Good. In the PDP, there's also the record of activities. So you would click on record of activities, open it up, and see all those activities. And on this slide, I did include a drop down of the reports that are in there. It's at the top. There's a little drop down here. Do know that we're working with TNL. We do have an issue with this pulling all of the signatures and the dates that are in the system. They're very close to getting this fixed, but I am working with a couple of LEAs. We're working back and forth with TNL and Performance Matters to get these reports corrected. But you can print them out and see if they're okay. Don't save them yet. I will send out a communication when all is good with these reports. And then for the end of the year, we do close out. It will be on Friday, June 29th at 5 p.m. So all steps for teacher side, support staff, and your administrator should be completed with all plans before 5 p.m. on Friday, June 29th. All right, do we have any further questions? And if not, I'll turn it back.
Yes. Wait just a minute. Cammie, is there a place to add documents to the PDP?
To add documents. It seems like there should be a notes area, but I don't know about adding.
I guess
documents.
if you do an attachment to the PDP, or yeah. Right,
where you do your comments. Can you add? I'll have to look at that, see if they can add documents.
I don't think that there is an option there. I don't remember it unless that's been an update.
Right, and I haven't had an update on that, so it's. And since I don't actually get in and actually do an evaluation with somebody, I'd have to check on that area.
Okay.
But I can check on that and answer that question.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'll turn this back over to Kim. Or do you want me to talk about this slide?
You if you'll discuss this.
Okay. So there are PD courses that you can take to support your plan, progress, and process, and earning those CEUs credits and items that you can use toward growth in your system. Do visit, there's a little link in here called http rt3nc.org. That is a list of all the courses in our system. They are all self-paced courses to earn CEU credits. I do know that they're mostly listed as general credits. It is up to your district once you've earned a credit for whatever course you've chosen to take. would be your district's responsibility to decide what that falls under. Although also on this rt3nc.org is a page that tells you which of these courses falls under your digital learning competencies or literacy or whatever is needed. All right, and then I'll let Kim talk about our wiki.
So this is the NCEES Wiki, where all of our resources to support the evaluation process, this is where they live. And today's webinar can be found, if you look over to the left side, you see archived webinars 2017-18, and this will be there within 24 hours posted. So if you have a colleague that you think would benefit from this webinar on the end of the year process, please forward them a link or let them know that this is recorded and you can register and view it. Also, we have upcoming webinars. On Tuesday, May 15th from 4 until 5, we'll have the NCEES webinar Administrator End of the Year Process. And on Tuesday, June 5th, we will have Using the PD System to Plan for Next Year. So here is our page for our Home-Based Support Center Remedy Ticket web portal. If you have questions regarding the online tool, we ask that you open a help desk ticket first, and this helps us to keep up with issues, you know, so it's important instead of the calling in that we need to have a ticket created. And when you send a ticket, please be sure to address who is accessing the application when the problem occurs, what are you doing when the problem occurs, and which part of the application, when did the problem occur, what time of day is important, and where did the problem occur, at school, is this a problem for the entire LEA or for one teacher? So if you can include those things, we'd like for you to. Sometimes it's not possible, but this is the way for you to receive home-based support. Cammie, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, if you're a teacher listening, you have somebody designated in your district, usually your NCEES district administrator would be the one to open this ticket. They do take calls from teachers, but they will refer you to your district administrator, whoever has access to actually open the ticket.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
All right, and I think we're at the end of our slides, Kim. So if we have no further questions, is there anything you would like to add?
So not at this time. I'm checking the questions. I have one here that says, can we take the administration webinars? Are they for principals only? No, anyone can attend the webinars. They're open.